Hello, everybody. Today's guest is a rock artist for the new age. He writes music, plays guitar, and brings it all to life with his band. Some say he rivals legends like Hendrix and Clapton. Let's find out what drives him. Christian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me. That's a heck of an intro. I
I
appreciate
appreciate
that.
that,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to have you on the show, Christian.
Yeah, this is really cool. And you got the whole neon sign and you see we worked with Mark Kaz already and he's like, man, I gotta hook you up with this guy. He's really cool. He's got a really great thing going. So I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, I appreciate Mark for connecting us. And for the listeners who may not be familiar with your line of work yet, can you give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, I'm well, it's weird 'cause I do a lot. Like there's a lot of different hats that I wear. I would say first and foremost, I'm an artist. So I write and record music, and I play guitar, and I sing as well. So I'm a performer. I perform these with a live band. I also am the guitar player and a vocalist for Slight Return, which is Mark's group. And I'm a music and art lover. Um, that's what I do. So, like literally last night, I was up till like I actually think I was up till 5 in the morning. I fixed the song. I had like big structural issues with this song I had recorded a while ago, and like I had already had like my friend who's a professional drummer play on it, and like I'm listening to it, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with this? Like, there's just something not right." And like it's good to just leave a song for a long time and then come back to it because you're not like sentimental, like, oh, like I want all these lyrics or all. Just get that out of your head because you're gonna like end up with a shitty, sorry, a bad song for that. Uh, yeah, and I was up really late, and thankfully the pieces came together. I like chopped it up. I'm like, okay, this has to come over here. This needs to just leave entirely, and it worked out. So
It sounds like me doing my thumbnail. I do the same thing. It's like, man, something's missing here.
yeah, what thumbnail generation is like a huge thing, right? Like it's got to be just larger than life. Like,
You could tell if you go on my page, if you scroll all the way down to my first one to the ones I've been making recently, it's like I've learned the craft. I learned how to make them just from other people telling me how to do it alone too. It's a lot of stuff. People tell me how to do stuff, and it throws a little bit input here, a little bit input there, and then I kind of turn it into what it is today. And Christian,
yeah.
I appreciate you being on the show, and it's always fascinating to hear the why behind everyone's passions. I mean, how did your love for music first start?
Well, it's funny because he's like back in the media spotlight, but it came from watching School of Rock with Jack Black. So, seeing him in the Minecraft movie, like I went and saw it this weekend was cool. Yeah, he was the guy who started it because I wanted a guitar for Christmas. After watching that movie, I saw that kid Zach shredding, and I'm like I think that looks like a lot of fun. And my parents got me a guitar for Christmas, and this was in 2006, so going into 2007. That sounds about right.
Did you go to college at all, or any type of? I mean, did you take any lessons? I mean, how did
Yeah.
that all? How did you become so good at playing guitar like you have?
Well, I had a lot of like, thankfully, I was able to get like some really good mentors and teachers around me, which is essential. Like, if you really want to take it up a notch, and then like a lot of time went into it, I guess, but it doesn't feel like I take that back. A lot of time did go into it. Uh, but it was good. Like it was rewarding using that time on something that you love doing. And guitar is there's just so many things you can do with it. I think that's why it's so engaging. You can really take any turn on the instrument and you're doing something possibly that someone else has never done before. It's a relatively new instrument in like the grand scheme of fretted instruments and instruments in general.
Allegedly, a lot of performers like you that play guitar start with the blues. What's your take on that?
That's absolutely true. Yeah. And I'm like, that's an interesting piece of knowledge that you just dropped. So you've been reading about this. Yeah, the blues was like the foundation of a lot of like contemporary guitar music, because before that point it was like a lot of classical music was played on the six string guitar, and then when the steel string guitar kind of rose to prominence, you were looking at a lot of things like bluegrass, um, folk, blues music, and they say blues was really like the starting place for rock music, and you know I agree to that. I agree with that to an extent. Um, the idea of like bending notes and bending strings, well, I think was kind of done in blues music first. So, you know, someone else could have done it, but I'm saying like it was commonplace in blues
No, that
that
makes
you
sense.
would bend and you would use a slide. Um, yeah, so it kind of is like the grandfather for contemporary music on guitar, and it's one of those pillars that every guitar player should have that supports them. Um, that's what I would recommend anyone who's like learning is like learn a 12 bar blues and learn how to like play something on a pentatonic scale over top of that and start there.
No, that makes sense. And you know, a lot of great artists start young like that. Um, did you? So you started with the blues, that's correct. And then what
Yeah.
made you really pick up the guitar? And what is? Can you play the Can you play the blues on acoustic and electric guitar?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, let's see here. It's like the same kind of form across any guitar, whether it's electric or acoustic. But you can play it like with a slow shuffle. So that's the same thing as like if you sped it up or like you can do fast, slow, same kind of deal. Um, this is the first time I picked up the guitar. It's today. So I was like, you can do minor blues, so it's like darker sounding blues. So it's kind of like a different spin on what you know usually would be played. That's all like in a minor key. A lot of stuff you can do with it, and then you know the improvising over the pentatonic scale is like what comes next. So people will be playing over this form. You can like play. That's a couple notes on top of that pentatonic scale, but most of it it's all over that. Play. That's a couple notes on top of that pentatonic scale, but most of it it's all over that
I
kind of thing.
appreciate you doing it. That is amazing. I mean, that's more than music. That's storytelling.
Yeah, that's like a lot of years of people experimenting, and it's almost weird to just like go and pick up a guitar and you're like, oh yeah, and all this collective creation that humanity has done, I'm just gonna like go ahead and stand on everyone's shoulders and do something up play
Yeah, it's
blues.
like you're not just playing notes, you're like playing with emotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like that's a whole nother thing too. Like if you really like playing with emotion, you can yeah, you are that's a weird thing because I remember people like I go on my friend's YouTube channel sometimes. He has this metal channel. And it's funny because I do get like a few people coming up to me at shows or like I'll go to the NAMM show or some music convention. People are like, "Are you that guy on Spectre Sound?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that show I'm doing like very technical metal guitar stuff. At least in most instances. And people are like, "Oh, like has no, it doesn't have soul." And I'm like, "What exactly are you talking about?" I don't even think they know. Uh, Guitar players are haters sometimes, but whatever.
Now, I'll say like what you just showed, it shows how deeply this is part of who you are.
Yeah, well, it's uh, it's definitely spent a lot of time with one of these. So yeah.
Now, was there like a song or like a moment that made you say like, "This is what I want to do"?
Um, well, there was this one time one of my teachers like took me into this. There's this performance we did at this local club. Um, and he had like a bunch of his students come up. It was like the showcase thing, and people seemed to like really receive what I played like well. They thought it was really cool. So um that's like after that point I'm like, yeah, I want to perform and do this. So and also watching Joe Bonamassa, um he did this show. It was filmed on DVD. So that's how I got to see it. It's called Live at a New Day yesterday, and I became really obsessed with trying to figure out how to do stuff like that on guitar. You know, I hope the audio came through. I don't know what that sounded like. I just realized I don't have like an actual microphone, but
Yeah, we'll figure that one out after credits. You know what I mean? I'm
did it
hoping it
sound
came.
like it came through the
It
headphones?
sounded like it came through, but you don't know until after. And I appreciate you doing that. I mean, it sounded amazing on my end. So I mean, I can't take away anything else
Yeah.
like that.
I just see like this echo cancellation thing here, and I'm wondering if it like I'm sure it knows how to detect human speech, but who the heck knows with an acoustic guitar? It might be like, what is that? And try to cut it out. So I just dawned on me. Um,
No, it's all good. I mean, you're not wrong. I didn't know either, and that's the fun of it, because like you're the first person to ever play guitar on the podcast. I appreciate you doing that, and that was great. And you do write your own music. Do
yeah.
you write your music with like a message behind it, or do you just write it
Yeah.
with like feeling?
Well, Billy Joel, the piano player, and singer artist, he has the best and truest philosophy on this. It's different every time. Sometimes you hear a chord progression that's super inspiring. Sometimes you hear or you write a lyric, like, oh, this is really cool. And then you set it to music, or sometimes you hear a melody. Sometimes it's like just by the strangest coincidence, you have settings turned a certain way and gear around you or a guitar on a specific time of day, like it just feels a certain way in your hand and sounds a certain way. It's like boom, all of a sudden, oh, that sounds like a song, and then you roll with it. Um, I remember one time I was teaching and one of my students, like literally she walks into the door and I was like, "How are you?" And she's like, "That sounds cool." I'm like, "I know." I took out my phone, filmed it, and like wrote one of the best songs I've ever written.
Yeah,
Um,
what's your favorite part about the writing process?
that's all pretty cool. I think when it really comes together in the studio and you're like, you got the real drums on it and the mix is starting to sound cool and like you're listening back. It's usually always right when I like end up cutting real drums, which is kind of like not how everybody does it. A lot of music right now is like kind of being written by one person, like one person on a computer in their studio. It could be a home studio, whatever, and they're producing, and it's like it's them. That's what you're hearing. A lot of songs are that way. Sometimes it's two people, like you look at Billie Eilish and Phineas. Two people. Obviously there's more people on like the team and the marketing and all behind the scenes, but like for the song, um, it's pretty. It's like went from a ton of people in like the Motown era on a song, performing and sharing that experience together, and then putting that on a recording, and then it went to like one person, two people.
Mm-hmm.
In the modern era, sometimes people will stick to just straight ahead program drums, which is like samples, so like little snippets of say a snare hit, a cymbal hit, a kick drum, and they piece them together to make a full drum performance. And then there's some people, which I like to do, I'll just get a real drummer, put them on a drum set, and they'll play along to the song that I've already written. Usually I don't even really say anything to them. Just say, okay, here's the song. You figure out what you want to do. It's the guys that I work with, like I trust that way. And I like working with people who've written their own music too, because it's fun to get like really high end studio players, but I like working with art people who have like their own projects, right? Because one, there's no like jealousy if someone's got their own side house, like their side project, their own personal thing. They got their own dreams and ambitions. That means that they also have that factor, like they care about what the art is. They have that respect for it. So I like working with those types of people. They're going to do their own thing, and that's great. And you just have to let it happen. And maybe if it's so out of the sphere of what you had envisioned, you can like maybe intervene. But I've learned over time that like the best policy is actually not trying to control every single aspect of it, because you actually end up making it like worse. You just screw it up.
No, I can
Yeah.
tell that you go really deep in your ability of making songs and writing them. That's what makes it special. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't realize this. Like Justin Bieber, he had Ed Sheeran write one of his biggest songs.
Which one was that?
I think it was "Baby,"
Ed
or it
Sheeran?
was
No, no. I think it's gotta be one of his later ones.
it was one of the other ones. It was one of them. I know that, but
I
it
would be
was
shocked if it was that one.
really.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask you this one. I mean, where do you mentally go when you're creating new songs?
Well, it kind of looks a lot like bouncing between listening back to what I just did, which some people don't even do, and then there's like the creative side where I'm just not really listening. I'm just throwing ideas out, and going with the flow of the idea. There comes a certain critical point. I call it the point where the song writes itself. Once you can get to a point where there's like this tipping point. I don't know what it is. I don't even think about it. Like the song's done. Like I already have heard the ending. This is how it's gonna go, and that's it. The song's done. It literally will write itself. It's like a very strange thing. Um, and then maybe after that's all done, you edit something. Maybe you take a small piece out, or you move something.
No,
Um,
I can tell how passionate you are, when you're writing your music and you're performing it, but what is it like performing your own music on stage? Can you tell me more about it?
that's like where a lot of the fun is, because you spend so much time in very controlled environments and like doing all of this, and like you have to remember that like this is for other people, and that's something that can't be lost, I guess. And it's weird because we're going into this era of like single person producer writer, or like two people. They have the artist who's like writing the top lines or the lyrics and the melody, and then a track writer who does the whole track underneath it. And it's like, you know,
There's
It's
something
all.
special when you're performing in front of a crowd
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
feeling the energy with the crowd. Whenever I go to a performance at like Pine Knob or any of these other places I go to, it just the energy that is created in a venue like that is just so magical. And I can tell that you like feel so alive up there when you're performing. Do you like being in a band more than playing solo?
I don't really like playing solo gigs. Even my own music, it's gonna be like arranged so I can play with a full band, four pieces, including myself, ideally. Ideally, there would be like, in a perfect world, I'd have another guitar player to play like some of the rhythm parts, but it's just it gets complicated too with like logistics, rehearsals. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I would say like the energy of a band really changes everything.
Yeah, it does, and that's something that's I do see that kind of being an issue for some of the music that, like I said, is not being written by or multiple people aren't like sharing that experience by playing drum, playing bass, and there's a problem when it comes to like performing that music live. Like sometimes I just am not sure. Maybe like the younger generation, like 18 and younger, like maybe don't care about it. But I would say like if you brought them to an actual performance where people were like a full band was playing, they would probably be like, well, like this is like a little more interesting because like I can look over there and see like that person's like smiling at this dude and like he's playing this crazy thing and like there's multiple interactions happening versus like one person on stage with a microphone and a track.
No, so
So
true. I've seen some crazy things at some performances, especially at Pine Knob. I've seen people throw stuff on stage. I've seen guys catch a beer and then full on just shotgun it on stage, and then it's like just part of the act. It's just it
yeah,
gets the crowd going. You know what I mean?
yeah.
What's one of those shows that you'll never forget?
I would say like the craziest live show I've ever seen in my life was The Wall. Roger Waters' The Wall. Um, that is like a multi-million dollar production. If you know who Roger Waters is in like Pink Floyd, um, they literally build like a towering wall, like it's like 100 feet high with these big blocks, and then like knock it down by the end of the show. It's like just the level of production that's gone into it. This is unbelievably entertaining.
Yeah, I mean those moments stay with you forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that was a crazy one. Like really crazy.
Now, if I could
Um,
circle back, I mean, how do you handle like nerves before you go on stage? I mean, I know you have a great mindset already, but how do you handle that?
you know, if I have like a really big show, or something where I feel like is really gonna I mean, everything that I do live like will reflect on, you know, how much I care and how much I put into it. But I'll have this like kind of thing where I'll prepare and rehearse it to the point where I'm like, you know what, if I make a mistake, this is just out of my hands. There's nothing more I could have done. So that's a great place to be in.
Now, what was it like performing at Buddy Miles, tribute to Buddy Miles with
Oh yeah,
Mark
that was
Casa?
cool with Mark. Yeah, so those guys, those were the heavyweight champs, man. Like on the drums, Bernard Purdy and Dennis Chambers on the kit. Those guys have influenced like recorded music and live music for that matter. Like a lot more than what people realize. There's like that Led Zeppelin song, "Fool in the Rain." Um, the Purdy Shuffle. It's like this really specific drum groove, and Bernard Purdy invented it. And people don't like realize just how much that shaped groove oriented music. It was like really crazy to see them both on stage and then play with them. It was really cool. I filmed as much as I could of it, the rehearsals. Um, we were in the studio with Bernard the next day after that show. Um, it's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, I
really,
did not
really
have the
lucky.
opportunity to go to that but I wish I had the opportunity. I was in Miami that week and I couldn't
Yeah,
make
it
it,
would
but
have been
I
fantastic.
was really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing you live in concert with Mark Casa too,
Yeah,
and your band and Slight Return.
yeah,
And I love the type of music you guys play. And the energy you guys can bring to a live performance is it's electric sometimes. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
who
But
has
yeah,
been your top three guitar influences?
Joe Bonamassa. Um, I man, I'd have to probably say like David Gilmour and Jeff Beck at the same time, and then like Kurt Rosenwinkel. Um, yeah, I'd probably say those three most influential. There's obviously been a lot, like, because then there's Slash too. Like what Slash did, well, he wrote amazing parts for the Guns N' Roses, but he also made the guitar really cool. Like made kids like me like want to be like, oh, like I play guitar because it's cool, you know? Like, and it's silly to say that, kind of, but like that's just how it is, you know?
Yeah, can you dive a little bit deeper? Why are they your favorite? It made the most influence on you.
Hmm. Well, Joe, I like I said that one show live at a New Day yesterday. There was like this song that he was playing. It was called "Don't Burn Down That Bridge," and it was an arrangement from this old blues song, but he made it like a modern rock song. It had all this delay and like this strobe lights, and it was really cool. Like the sound was unbelievable, the energy, it was sick. Uh, After seeing that, I'm like, oh, this is I guess this is what's possible on the instrument. So he's also like just an absolute monster on the guitar. He can really, really play. And then David Gilmour, because of just the atmosphere and the like the emotion, I would guess that he could invoke. Same with Jeff Beck. Not necessarily like the craziest things I've ever seen on guitar, but the feeling that you get, there's something to be said about that. Um, Jeff Beck, though, that was crazy. Don't get me wrong, what he did. Um, then Kurt Rosenwinkel, because what he did is he studied essentially like every era of music, which I tried to do, but not like he really like played it on guitar, studied it, and he knows how to like flawlessly switch from, maybe some sort of counterpoint that he heard from like a Bach or Beethoven piece and then immediately like flip into like, okay, and then here's like a bebop line that Charlie Parker would play. And then here's this other weird modern thing that I'm gonna do in groups of fives and this repeating thing. Like he can literally just like walk in and out of eras, which is amazing. And then he plays that all on guitar. So
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's something into it. Like even for me, when I see someone play an instrument that you play, you take something away from it. Go, oh, you can actually play it this way. You learn a little bit more about wow, this is what I can do with the guitar. This is what's possible. Like you're just saying, which most people just don't even think about in that way.
yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, especially with altered tunings. Which admittedly, like I don't really mess with it too many altered tunings. Like I'll do drop D, of course. I'll go flat. Um, some people will tune like their guitar to open chords. Um, there's a lot that goes on.
Now, didn't Hendrix play his guitar? He reversed the strings.
No, yeah, he did. Yes, he did reverse the string. So he just took like a regular left-handed guitar like this, or right-handed guitar, and then he flipped it like this. But the bass strings he flipped. He put them down there. Some people, like Eric Gales, the thin strings are on the top. They literally just took the guitar and flipped it like this, and that's how they learned. So some people have done it that way.
I've also seen and heard some people put like a deck of cards, take a card and they threw it in the strings too.
Oh, for to raise, like you're talking to raise the action so that you play slide. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yep, that's the thing. They'll put it back here somewhere, and then you can play slide guitar a little easier. I know there's this guitar player, his name is Guthrie Govan. He used like a train ticket. He would fold it up and put it under there. And what that all that happens is it just lifts the strings further off of the fretboard. So you can play slide. You can play a little louder and a little more aggressively that way too. Yeah.
Now, Christian, do you
Wow.
think guitar is making a comeback?
I mean, I remember this. Okay, so this is a thing like a couple of years ago where they're like the guitar is like dying or whatever. Some article came out. I can't remember who wrote it. Um, do you recall this? It
I
was
do
like,
not.
okay, so this happened a few years ago. I wish I should really pull it up. And it was talking about, oh, guitars, like, you know, people just aren't playing it anymore. This was based off of some sales report from some guitar company. And then meanwhile, like Paul Reed Smith, the guitar manufacturer, he's like, yeah, I remember seeing an article, which was strange because that was a record year of sales for us. So, like, what are people? I don't know who wrote this or how it ever got picked up. And maybe at the time, like the top Billboard songs or whatever didn't have guitar or very little guitar, which like can be a thing, like at a given month and out of a year, okay, those top songs don't have guitar. Doesn't mean like guitar is like a dying thing. I think it's always kind of steadily been growing. I don't think it's ever dropped off, honestly. Um, Now some people would like say, oh well, what about looking at top songs from like the night, like not maybe not even the 90s, because guitar was like Nirvana. Um, in like the era, like the 2010s, 2013, when it was like a lot of Justin Bieber stuff was on the radio. Katy Perry, like yeah, those songs didn't really like feature guitar at all, really, that I can recall. So maybe that's why people figured that. But at the same time, too, like there were other rock bands playing music too. Um, the other thing too, do you feel that those songs aged well?
No, not that well.
So that's a no. Like,
Yeah. I don't know, the
yeah,
Justin
I like
Bieber, Katy Perry. I mean, they always come
some
back because I think they're
they come.
they go goes that era because they were
Yeah,
known for
it's
that
that
era. If
era.
you think about
But
that
you just
era,
said
they
it.
think about it.
You just said it. It's that era. So what does that mean? Like, if you go and listen to, say, someone like there's some songs that will do this that just straight up they just transcend the era, like Tears for Fears, Everyone Wants to Rule the World. You ever hear that song?
I have not.
You never heard that song? It's
Nope.
like you ever heard this?
I have not, sadly.
Welcome to your life. There's no turning back. You never heard that song?
Nope.
Okay,
I
real
appreciate it
famous
though.
song, but like you listen to the recording, you can't tell if it was written like maybe a year ago by some like artist who wanted to sound retro, or if it was actually like recorded in the 80s, which it was. Like there are some recordings that just transcend that barrier. Van Halen does it too. Listen to a song like "Hot for Teacher." Like I don't know what this is. It doesn't really sound like it's from a certain era. It just sounds like this crazy rock band. Maybe I'm just biased, but I would argue that music that has a lot of like real instruments on it is pretty like it's not really gonna get dated.
Yeah, and I really think people crave that real raw sound.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a term that we're gonna be hearing a lot more of. Like, I want something real, I want something like genuine, which are words for just I want something that I can share the human experience with. Okay. And the key emphasis is on human. because I'm sure you've kind of like, you may have even used AI like to generate stuff. Like I've seen some full-fledged videos. I've seen people like podcast personas that are AI. And right now I'm just like I don't connect with it. Uh, so
No, I think it's coming up, and it's gonna take over every industry, especially the music industry. I think Kanye West is coming out with some music with AI involved into it,
you think
and
that was AI stuff, the Kanye stuff that he just did?
yeah, he did mention some of it was AI integrated.
World
So I
War
mean,
Three? He said
I don't
that?
know if it's new. I think it's new one coming out. He's working on.
That would be World War Three, like the
Is that what it
latest.
is?
Yeah, which is weird because like he said, like we have to remember like because he's very controversial and like the fact of the matter is that sometimes bipolar people say things that we don't like, you know.
Yeah, I could see AI going into every industry and just doing a little bit, like, if you're not using it, you're gonna be left behind, sadly, in a certain way. I mean, you got to use it somehow, some way. Just to, even with you, if you want to do any marketing or anything like that, you need to write an email. You can just put it in, a little AI generator and then have a perfect email
Right,
to someone or something like that, and
right.
certain little things like that. But I mean, I think the love and the art, if you're writing music with it, hey, I'm sorry, like there's not the emotion in it if you're using it for that.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes because, like I said, emotion is like a weird thing to try and quantify and take it from me, I know because people like you can play something crazy and they're like, oh, it's got like no emotion. Who knows what people connect with? But the AI stuff, at least for right now, like this the music that I've heard that people have sent me, I'm like this. I would never listen to this. Like I listen to honestly about it takes me about 15 seconds to 30 seconds. I'm like I would not finish this song. No way.
Now that's a great insight. And what advice do you give to a young guitar player?
I I would not be the person to ask for advice.
Not just practice, practice, practice.
No. I would say I would wait like first of all, if someone actually came to me for advice, I'd be like, it's way too general. Like what advice do you want on what?
Oh, I see what
Um
you mean.
yeah, and also like advice is kind of bull. Like it's stupid. Because what worked at a certain time and place a year ago, if you think you can copy and paste that, it's gonna work now for this artist. No, maybe. Also, never take advice from people who don't like Kanye said it best. I don't take advice from people less successful than me. Never take advice. That's about the best advice I can give to anybody. Never take advice from somebody who doesn't, for one, you don't respect, and who two is not better at what you do. You know?
No, I resonate with that. That makes so much sense. It's like for me for the podcast, for example. Like I can't take advice from someone that's never even done a podcast before in their life and they're
Oh.
trying to tell me what to do and how to do it. I mean, like it's just like you're saying, if you never wrote a song or you never performed live, how are you going to tell me how to do stuff?
Yeah, I've had people try to do that too, and it was just like it's so weird. Like I remember this one. He's like a photographer. I don't even care if he sees this. He's like saying, oh, like the songs and stuff, like you need to be working with a writer, like these just aren't strong enough songs. And I'm like, he's like saying on the mix is this is weird. I'm like, it sounds like you're a producer, like have you producing songs? Like, no. I'm like, okay, have you written songs? He's like, no, no. And I'm like, okay, well, like, do you have any like current modern stuff that you've been listening to that you think is like on the cutting edge that I should be taking into consideration? Literally couldn't name one thing. So I'm like, okay, clearly like this you have no idea what you're talking about. So you have to have a system, but like even just having to be like locked into a noise canceling headphone call with that guy was too much. Like I should have just been like, okay, thank you, and hung up the phone. It's only because someone like who was a friend like recommended I talk to this guy because he like shot some like Canadian bands like in the past. He writes these articles. I don't whatever, but even being locked in a phone call with that, just hang up. It's not even worth it because like you can't take advice from someone like that. So that's my advice. Mm.
No, that's a great takeaway, and I want to get your take. What is it like being a modern rock artist in today's world?
I think every artist in general, like because of the internet, everyone's all in one place. It just feels like you're screaming into the void, even if you could be doing something really crazy. Um, I think what it's like myself and other people have to remember is that the wheat from the chaff will be separated eventually. So the more that you continue to hold your ground and do what you do, like good things are going to come of it. Um, and as far as like rock music, at least personally, what I've been noticing is like people are it's hilarious because like people are like rediscovering instruments, like especially in the hip hop community. Like even with the stuff I did with Dame, like well, actually no, Dame he's already ahead of the curve on this because he's like any rapper, he's like no tracks, do it with the band, and there will be like a band at his shows, which I would be in playing guitar. And he's like, you need to do your song. If you're gonna rap, you're gonna take your track, whatever, show the band, we learn it on stage, then we play it. And he does that because it's like he knows that there's a big problem, especially when it comes to live music. You can't expect an audience to connect with an artist who just gets up there by themselves with like a track, as well as you're gonna connect with like multiple people sharing an experience, and then that's an invitation, that's an outstretched hand. You can come share this with us too.
Yeah, I really respect that because I feel like music in general, and I think it comes back in waves. I think things,
Yep.
certain trends, it's like a wave crashing into the shore. Like a certain trend happens, and then it goes back to the sea. You know, it goes in, it goes out, and it comes back. It goes. You know, it's
Yep.
like one of those things that it just always, it kind of just recycles itself over time. A lot of the music does that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my friend Booster, he's got a great he's an artist from Detroit. He's got a great philosophy on this. He's like, some things just get turned down in the mix at a certain point. Just get turned down a couple decibels, and then all of a sudden something gets boosted. And then a year later that's now down in the mix.
Yeah, I feel that because there's always a song of the summer. There's always something that's really resonating with the people. And do you think rock still has something to say in today's day and age?
To be honest, what's okay, so I don't want to get myself into trouble here. What the public and like the general audience believes is resonating in popular music would not have necessarily got there organically. I'll just leave it at that. So the whole
Yes.
idea of like, oh, like, is something still popular? People don't realize how much money and promotion goes into making something popular. Like that's just not even a consideration because why would it be? Why would an average person care? The song's here, it must be popular because I hear it on the radio. Or I've seen it come up on, whatever given streaming platforms name it's coming up on the algorithm. Do you think it got there because, it just was a really good song?
Just follow the money and everyone do your own research on that end of it.
Yeah, so that's like kind of a I guess like a grim outlook on it, but that's why I laugh because like people are like, "Oh, well, like what's popular?" And I'm like, I don't know what would be popular if you just let things happen naturally. I have no idea, and neither does anyone who claims they think something is popular.
No, that's
So,
very good insight. And what's your take? What would be your dream collab, uh, alive or dead?
oh, for like an artist,
Like, what would be one of those legends that you would love to just perform with?
I mean, even though he's super controversial right now, Kanye would be amazing to collab with. I don't care if people like he's bipolar and like yeah, he's saying stuff that's very offensive. Would you go and scald somebody who has Tourette's? No,
No.
right? So like I just wish people would like keep that in the back of their head when stuff happens like this because like that's an extremely debilitating mental illness. And like, I would never wish that upon anybody to have to go through that. I know people who have that, and it's like you can't just like be calm and live like with consistency. It's always one extreme or the other, and that's like very exhausting for people. So yeah, I would say like Kanye. But I'd also because you said living or dead, Stravinsky for sure. He was like kind of like one of these guys who came in and stirred up, the pot. He did stuff that people didn't understand at the time, but now is like beloved and prized, cherished pieces of art, which is music art.
Yeah, I mean, two legends right there in their own right.
Yeah, yeah,
In music, you know what I mean? And even
yeah,
beyond. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff beyond that too, but you know what I mean? Like, because like Kanye, I mean, his music, he thinks so deeply and so strong about like how everything is crafted when he makes a song. It's actually remarkable how much he puts into it.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm curious to see like where I'm now. Like after I'm gonna look up like because I was listening to some of the stuff on that World War III, and I'm like, man, I almost wonder if he's like just messing with people and like using like some AI to even do his vocals. Like, I'm just curious on what exactly is happening. Like, because now that you brought it up, that you said that he admitted to using some of it on his tracks. Like, I'm just interested in what specifically he did. You know,
No, it's very true. I mean, that makes sense. How do you want people to feel after hearing your music?
like I want to hear it again.
No, that's powerful. I
Yeah,
resonate with that one. That was great.
yeah,
Now,
yeah. Like it's gotta like they have a place for it in their busy lives.
yeah, because time is the it's the ultimate currency.
You think so?
I think so.
Yeah,
I appreciate your time for being on the podcast this morning, today.
yeah. Oh, so thank you. Yeah, I'm just thinking about like I get because there's that saying, right? Like you can always get more money with time, but you can't buy more time with money. So, which is true. But you can also like waste a lot of time if you don't have money.
No, that's so true.
Yeah. It's in a way you can buy time with money because you can bypass certain things that would take somebody who doesn't have money a lot of time to get into the same position. So like if I wanted to travel, I could charter a private jet. Somebody who doesn't have money, what are they like? Let's versus somebody who has no money. What are you gonna do? Walk?
No, that's so true.
So like in a way, you kind of can buy time.
You know, I can always speculate, but I want to hear from you. What's your take on where the music is heading in the next 5 years, the music industry?
So I had a fun prediction that came true when I was at school about the Actors Guild strike, and I specifically remember saying there's going to be a drying up of revenue from sectors that have to take on streaming as like the platform on which its products are being consumed or art or entertainment. And I remember thinking like hopefully you're going to see a strike. I think it's going to happen in the movie industry where they're going to say, and it ended up kind of being for streaming, but also for AI. From what I understood, that's why the strike happened. There was multiple reasons why the Actors Guilds all did this. One of them was AI. Do you recall like some of these points when that whole thing went down?
I
And
do, I
another
do. A
one,
lot of
yeah,
AI was taking a lot of people's jobs, and they didn't want that in
yeah,
the industry for
and it also
movie
had to
acting.
do with some streaming stuff too. Um, so I remember saying that that's going to happen, and what I thought was going to happen is it was going to cross over and trigger a strike in the music industry, where some of like the top creators would just come out and be like, okay, like we're all like not releasing on this platform anymore. Like this is stupid. Like come to the table so we can negotiate something that's, respectable for both parties involved. And that just never happened. One of the reasons was because all of those like artists that would have you would have needed to like make that seismic shift, those are the same people who are benefiting from this system that we now see where there's like a one party rules all in terms of like live ticketing, um, streaming. I don't even like people are literally scared to say anything about it. Like no one can testify because their tours are going to get dropped. The only one who's like kind of saying something about it, but not in a great way is and presenting it in a great way is Kanye West because he's in that position to do that. Um, but if that continues to happen, though, what you'll see is just music from 10 artists that will dominate airwaves, media, television, and then you'll have everyone else fighting for some sort of um, audience. It could even end up like even just more like the wealth class, the division just further just grows, continues to grow.
That's a great takeaway
Yeah,
because I
at
know
least
Donald
that's
Trump
that's
just did some
already what's
stuff.
happening, and that's already just what I can see. Like I don't even you don't even want to use names. You can't say stuff like this because you'll just yeah.
Yeah, and I know Donald Trump just did some stuff on scalping tickets. So, I mean, that's
He did
something that's
he did
changing
with
some stuff.
well it was with Kid Rock and it yeah he did didn't he? You know I don't know what's the come of it honestly. Like it's fun though. It's entertaining to try and make a prediction,
Hmm.
but no one can tell you the future. No one.
No, you never know. I mean, they might even I don't know. It's crazy. With this new world we're living in, technology, we might even get like a hologram of Michael Jackson popping up one of these days.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen that.
Have you?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was it at like Universal Studios or something? I remember seeing a hologram of him, like straight up. It just looked like that's a thing. Maybe it was Elvis. You can do that. That already exists. Like 100%. I've seen that with my own eyes. I don't know how that's gonna work exactly with like copyright law. Because you're like using their likeness, so someone owns that. But then that's like also a new thing too, because the thing that we'll face in the future is like because you have so much data, and so do I, of like your podcasts, your speaking, your dialogue, your language. You'll be able to generate with some degree of your likeness an AI replica of you, and you'll be like long dead. So I don't know what that means. Like what is the law going to be behind that? Is there going to be a law? Like we just witnessed with Meta, they just trained their AI off a bunch of copyrighted material, and like the law hasn't caught up.
Yeah.
Same thing like with streaming. The law before the law could catch up, everyone was using Spotify, and like unfortunately, artists are some of the dumbest people I know. Like I don't say that lightly. What you've done is you've taken your revenue and you've given up the vast majority of it, and you've done it And I have to say they're very smart about this because you've traded that for social clout, right? Because that's the only other thing that's of worth, and people have found a way to exploit artists because they know that is the one in that they have, right? They can take the money, but as long as they see like that they're popular, that there's somebody, at least on numbers, I don't know if half of it's real, you know, they've given it up.
Yeah, I've heard that they don't even make much money off these streaming platforms, and maybe you can help me on this one. But allegedly, it's more they get most of their revenue, all these artists, off being on tour and selling their merchandise.
Yeah, that's you just said it. That's the reality of it.
But
Yeah.
that's crazy how you can create a song and then but the streaming platforms take a certain percentage and then you got your manager, you got all these people that, have their hands in the cookie jar. And then, you have to really go out there and travel on the road to perform for all your fans and then you got to sell your merchandise at the end of the day too.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people are getting out of it. Honestly, like a lot of you don't see like at least for independent artists, like a lot of people like they can't tour, or the ones who do tour, like they have money that they can take that loss on. Because like a success, sadly, like if you even follow someone like Adam Neely on YouTube, he's a fantastic bassist. Like he's got videos like how like a success was like breaking even on a tour. Like they almost like this video was how we almost lost $15,000 on tour, and it was like people got sick, they got COVID, they had hotels, they had all these expenses that came up, and it's like a success story today is like breaking even, which is very problematic, you know?
It's very tough to be an artist in today's day and age.
Yeah, right now it's actually the worst it's ever been, like 400%. People will try to argue, oh, well, like everyone's got visibility now. And I'm like, no, you don't. You think you really have organic visibility like these people who are with majors have? Like, you're dreaming.
Yeah, because at the
So,
end of the day, they have people that run their social media page for them. They have managers that do all the touring, and then like you got food, you gotta have gas to get to these locations for tour or to be on tour, and you got lighting people, you got to have security, you gotta have a lot of this stuff, and like
yeah.
end of the day, like you're coming out with basically just breaking even or a little bit less, like you're saying, just to grow your following.
Yeah, Joe Bonamassa is actually one artist who's I honestly cannot think of another artist that is like as successful as him in terms of like someone who's able to do what he does, and he makes I'm honestly like I'm about 90% certain he would make more money than someone like Shawn Mendes. Like he makes more money. He's independent. The team is about 23 people in total for his whole touring, all his shows, promotions, sound, everything. Caterers, 23 people roughly. And like he'll buy out a theater and then bank on selling enough tickets to break even and then turn a profit. And he does. And he just goes across the US and Europe doing that. And that model, like that's something to be said about that.
Oh, 100%. Because like even my buddy, he's in a band. He does local venues here, but local venues is just a couple bars, and you're still splitting with the whole band, whatever the revenue is, and they're barely even making any money there. Like basically just, peanuts.
Yep.
And it's a very tough industry, especially if you're in a band and you're trying to have your own music out there and do everything. It's like being a street performer might be the best bet to make some money just to make a couple
Yeah.
$100.
Like a success story right now in music is one just getting to do it full time. Name one person that you know who can.
What was that guy that made that song? Is it the American song? He just made it and he wanted no money for it. He like plays like the banjo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
talking about that guy. It's called
Is it
Richmond,
Oscar?
Rich Men North of Richmond.
Yes. Yes, I would
Yeah,
say it was probably he would probably be the one
like one dude who can like who does it full time, or like who's just like a success story because of the song and the message.
because of the song and the message. But then
Yeah,
when he performs, when he performs, he got mad at the venue where he performed at because they overcharged on the tickets. He goes, "No, no, no! I wanted this common price for all the tickets," and he told them to lower the prices on all of them because he wants basically anyone, everyone, and anyone that wants to listen to his music to be able to.
yeah. I mean,
What
the
is his
weird part
name?
of I can't remember his name. I know the song though. I know the guy. It's not bad. He plays guitar. It's Richmond North of Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic title. You know. Yeah. That's like I said, what's popular? I don't know. I would argue it was that because he was I don't think anything was behind him. It was just like a movement. He connected with people and that was it. You can't stop something like that. It's just unstoppable.
Yeah, once you get people's emotions involved, it's unstoppable, like you're
Yeah.
saying.
Or maybe it is stoppable because like what's he been doing recently?
Yeah, you're right, not wrong. Because he didn't sign with no contract with anyone. Because he says,
Yeah, notice how he's not like on tour, at least not that we know of.
mm-hmm. He would
Yeah.
be. They would have blew him up if they wanted to.
Yeah. And like I don't want to take away like there's like a value in which is added to like being on a major label. Like and I'm not saying like they're all bad. Like listen, people can complain about even someone like Kanye, who I do think is making a mistake on this. He's saying like, oh, you know, these executives are getting rich off of black struggle. That's what he would say. Do you think that he would be as prominent if a record label did not pay for and invest in his music and have him go on these tours, pay for these promotions, put him on TV shows? Do you think that he would be half of as popular? So like the answer is no, and like that comes with a network of people that you can get at a major. So there is that side too. Like you can't just say that they're all bad and like it's bleak and the reality it's like there's a lot of people spending a lot of time and effort into putting somebody like that artist into that position.
Yeah, I mean, even Elvis Presley had decided to sign the dotted line with his manager. You know what I mean? You got to do that because if you don't, you're not going to get to the stardom you want. And then if you make it as far as that, and like Kanye, you make enough money, then you can kind of break away and do whatever you want. But like, there's still a contract there, and they're going to still own you or own some of your songs or own some of
Yeah,
your
but that's
product at the
like
end of the
that's
day.
like
You got to make it so big
and
first.
yeah, and
A lot of work.
finding out what's respectable for both parties is where a good lawyer, entertainment lawyer, comes into the picture, and you better hope you have leverage because like that's just where it's at right now. And it's not like I said though, it's not all bad. It's just like I'm convinced that like major labels they're in a position where they don't even know how to break artists anymore. Like maybe if you have enough money, but then again, that's not a system where that's like a sustainable system because now you're going to attract talent that has money to go into it to begin with to
Mm-hmm.
sort of bankroll a rollout for an artist. So that's the type of talent like you would be attracting, and then you're not actually picking up people who are going to be like maybe the best artists, but they're in a difficult position because like the revenue is also just dried up from the field too. Like it's not the like it's just something that everyone's feeling too.
No, that's such a good point. And now, this is the Friday mindset part of the show. I want to dig into your journey and your mindset and the moments that shaped you. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Keep your publishing. Steve Vai. Yeah. Because Frank Zappa told him that. He asked him, Frank, what's some advice? And Frank was like smoking a cigarette, and he's like, keep your publishing. That's all he said. And
Can you dive a little
he's
bit
like,
deeper?
what
So
does
you're
that even
publishing, so you're
mean?
keeping your copyright, right?
Not a copyright. It's really strange how this stuff works, and I'm almost convinced that it's convoluted in an effort to justify the system of law and the people that work in the field of law to perpetuate it. Like that's what I see a lot of. There's no reason for it to be this complicated. There's publishing, which is in essence, you're right, the rights of a song. Who wrote the song? If you've written a song and you don't have a publishing deal, you own 100% of the publishing. So any royalties that you could receive from film or television or radio play will go to you. Uh, there's also what is called the master. So the recording itself, someone has to pay for that and somebody owns it. So you can own the song, but not own the master. You're entitled to now a split portion of royalties that it receives. If you own both 100 of the master and 100 of the publishing, now you own and you're going to be receiving a lot more revenue in theory. In reality, you won't, because if you don't have like someone pushing the song or doing anything with it, you'll make maybe like, a couple dollars off of streaming because it's just such a minuscule amount. It's a joke. Um, so yeah, that's where the advice comes from, like keep your publishing. And it's weird too, because like in reality, if someone owns your publishing, I could sing a song to you right now on this podcast and somebody else would own it. Right? Which is a weird thing to wrap your head around as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, for example, for me, the one song I know is the Happy Birthday song.
Yeah.
That's
Notice how
it's a
it's in
big
no
time one.
movies. It's like not in one movie.
No, yeah, I mean they can't even do it on TV or nothing. I noticed you guys made a Happy Birthday song with a slight return.
It's weird, man. There's a lot of like interesting different songs that are not Happy Birthday that end up appearing because of that copyright law.
No, and
Um,
I
it's a
appreciate
strange.
Mark Casa for sending that to me on my birthday, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing, isn't it? That's something too with Stravinsky. I'm realizing like, man, if because he technically his works are not in public domain because he passed away in I think 1986, which means that its copyright is life plus 75 years. So 75 years from the day he dies, his works are still protected under copyright law. The problem with that is that your legacy could evaporate because if your music is not able to be performed without having to jump through all these legal loopholes of like obtaining these licenses to go and record or play one of your pieces, then how do you expect to stay relevant? What your legacy, what is it going to be? Uh, Just an
Yeah,
interesting thought
it's
about it.
it's very interesting, and it's the music industry is cutthroat. I've heard of people suing people for just one line in the song.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes it's not even like the thing that people need to understand too about law is that it's used as warfare, lawfare. Look at like the whole beef with Kendrick and Drake. That was a different type of warfare that we've never seen before. And like I think it's who's on Universal? Yeah, Kendrick is, and they're now being sued by Warner because of like defamation allegations of that song.
It's a very tricky industry, and you
Yeah,
know
and
that.
sometimes there's not even a justifiable cause for a lawsuit. They just do it because they know it's going to drain whatever entity financially.
Yeah,
That's the really good part.
it really makes sense at the end of the day that people are just money hungry at the end of the day, and they want the other one to fail.
Yeah, but that's, that's like the United States is a litigious nation, and that is a risk that businesses, at least like the big ones, understand before going into a long-term business plan in the West, right? There's just a lot more lawsuits that happen. People want to get rich off of doing stuff that, like, if they see one opportunity, they smell blood, they're gonna sue. Like, especially if you're a company like Apple or any of these major labels, anything that is a big company is immediately a target for this. And I feel bad for them. Like, that's crazy. Like, that shouldn't be a thing, but it is.
No, that's such a good point. Now, what's one truth about life you wish more people understood?
Oh, it's a deep question. I don't even know. I'd have to take like a week to think about something like that. One truth. There can only be like truly one truth, but it's just like a divine truth. Anything thereof is a truth that is man-made, which is not going to survive in the grand scheme of time.
I love that. It's a good definition.
Yeah. I guess like that's the only thing that maybe like that kind of just is a truth in itself. Like the only thing that can transcend time is something divine. So,
Now, what belief or mindset has shifted and changed everything for you?
geez. Like one belief that's just shifted everything in my life.
Do you have any like quotes or anything like that?
I'm trying. I don't know if there's a quote or I couldn't tell you because there's not one that there isn't one key. There's just too many things in life that you need to like a lot of there's a lot of moving parts. I don't think you could summarize like it would go again to the first question, like there's only one truth, like it would be something divine. I and if I could only say there's like one I only have one thing that could shape my mindset and my choices, I you should hope that it comes from something divine.
No, that's
Like,
what I thought you were
essentially.
going to circle back to, and you did,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And
All right,
for
that's
me, yeah, it's great.
so
And for me, it's like my dad tells me this. He goes, "Do today because you do not know what tomorrow will bring," and that's something that I've always taken with me.
sounds like a Zen quote.
Does it?
It sounds like something that does not make 100% sense on its face, but you have to like think about it for a couple weeks. Like a lot of Zen quotes are like that.
I'll tell you this much. I mean, even Bob Marley has came out with some great quotes himself. I mean, just people in the music industry, they have some great philosophies on life and quotes. Probably because they lived it and they've seen it. You know what I mean?
I kind of have a quote or a saying.
Mm-hmm.
The fork in the road between the secular and the sacred is called coincidence.
That's powerful. I like that. It's like
Yeah.
for me, it's like I don't believe in luck. Okay, I believe luck is
There you
opportunity, and
go.
opportunity is there all the time.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask you
That's
this. No, I love that. I love that a lot. What kind of legacy are you going to leave?
I'm really hoping I could get something like what Stravinsky did to somebody who's undeniably has their signature and their art, and even through all the different eras of composition that this guy had, he did like 20th century, modern, neoclassical, serialist music, and he always sounded like himself. But he also really changed the game in a weird way. He like liberated what we consider dissonance. And he kind of actually paved the way for someone like a Jimi Hendrix to come along and play music and play the way he did. It was in not all because of him, but a portion of it was. So definitely would like to create something like that.
It almost seems like every artist just is on the road and they all keep on paving the road forward. You know,
There's a fantastic quote actually from The Poetics of Music, which is a Stravinsky book. I can't remember the exact quote, but it goes along the lines of the universities will put into print and practice only what has come after after the artists who have made it mainstream outside of the studies of the university.
that's deep.
Yeah, really, and it's right. That's been happening for years.
The show is called Every Day is Friday, and Friday has a special energy, whether it's freedom, excitement, or just feeling of accomplishment after a long week. I want to hear from you. What does Friday mean to you?
You know, Friday, usually I'm spending it with someone special. Yeah, that's usually what I'll come doing Friday. Um, or I'm just gonna go into the studio and make something.
I love that definition.
That's it.
I love it.
Yeah,
You do what you love and you spend it with who you love.
yeah, that's it.
Now, this is your chance to leave the listeners with something powerful. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, first of all, it sounds like we're wrapping it up. I wanted to thank you again. Maybe it seems like I feel like creatives are gonna like be inclined to and are gonna see this and probably be inclined to check it out. So I guess I'll leave something that's gauged for those people. My gosh, I have to think about this for so long. Man. This is crazy. These are some deep questions you're asking.
Friday mindset.
Yeah. If you get this philosophical on a Friday?
I
What?
Friday means different. You know, Friday is a different feeling for every single person, and you know, every day is Friday is about like bringing that energy into everyday life.
This is how the founding fathers of America felt on Friday, dude. Like these are the kind of questions they were asking each other. Um, for creatives, just get yourself into a position. It doesn't really matter what it looks like, so you can spend valuable time, uh, making art and connecting with people. Really important to figure out how to get yourself into that position. I don't know what it looks like to.
Yeah, go chase your dreams because your dreams will not chase you, and anything is possible as long as you put your mind to it. And if you put your mind to it, and if you I like to say like this is if you can imagine it, and then you take action for it towards it, and then you kind of manifest it. It's all it's all about. And thank you for being on the show, and all your information will be in the description down below. But I want to make sure that people know where to find you. Where can people
Yeah.
follow and support your work?
Well, first of all, if you come across one of these clips, go listen to one of my songs because it's going to just do a hell of a lot more explaining than any bio or write up. Just go any one of them. Um, Check out AAA. Um, any song on there, you can see like just kind of what I'm up to. It's very different, and be curious about it because you just haven't heard stuff like that before. So that's where I would go.
And I know the listeners got a lot of value out of this, and it's been an awesome conversation. I appreciate you being here and sharing your stories and experiences.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, for having me, and for asking these very very thought provoking questions. Hopefully I don't like when people start asking questions like this, you can't always answer them through like oh like I got to put up a filter. So hopefully I don't get myself into trouble here, but I also don't really care to live in a world where I have to tiptoe about being in trouble for what I say. That's not a reality that we should perpetuate. So it is what it is.
Yes, I appreciate you saying that because I do my homework before the show, and
Yeah, you
I
do.
do a lot of stuff. You know, outside the show to make the show special for all my listeners. And I appreciate you being on the show. And thank you again for being on the show. And I know the listeners really got a lot of value out of this. And to everyone listening, stay tuned for more amazing stories on Every Day is Friday Podcast 365. If you enjoyed this, make sure to follow, share, and keep Every Day is Friday mindset going. Until next time, stay inspired and make every day feel like Friday. Until next time, everybody.
Yes.